Well, hello there. It's me, Mrs. Henry. I'm from the Palos Verde Library District, and we're here for some mystery crafts. What is so mysterious about these crafts? Basically, just you don't know what they are until I tell you. So the mystery will be solved right now. I'm going to tell you what crafts we're going to make today. Now remember, this is pre-recorded, so you can pause me, go gather what you think you might need, and then come back. If you didn't catch how I was doing something, just back me up and you can watch again. Now, we are ready to reveal the mystery crafts. The first craft we're going to make is a toy. It's a cup and ball. There we go. It's tricky. You want to try and swing and catch that little sponge on the end. That's our first craft. Our second craft, oh my, it's a little fish from the sea. Yes, this is a fish. You can make it swim. Whoa, swimming right toward you. We'll make a fish. The last craft we're going to make maybe is the most mysterious of all because it's very easy to make, but it's very hard to make it work. I've had trouble all morning with this. This is a kazoo. A kazoo is an instrument that works on vibration, and sometimes it's really hard to get that vibration right. Let me see if I can get it today. Okay. It can sound better than that. It takes practice. So the mystery is solved on what crafts we're going to do, but now we need to find out what do you need for those crafts. As I said, if you need to put me on pause and gather these materials, this is fine to do that. So what might you be looking for? Well, for the cup and ball, of course, need a cup, and we don't actually have a ball. We're using a little piece of a sponge. Can you see that? It's hard to tell. That is a piece of sponge, a clean sponge. It came from the sponge that I used in my kitchen. Not going to use this little piece, but I can still use this. Now, before you go chopping up your sponges, do check with a parent, make sure they don't need that. But most of the time they'll be fine. You could also use something like a pom-pom or a piece of styrofoam. But it needs to be something that you can tie because this is something else you need, a piece of yarn. This is about 24 inches long. It's pretty long. If it's too short, it won't work. The toy won't work. And of course, if it's too long, it'll be really hard. So 24 inches is about right. And then you need a paper clip. So for the cup and ball, you need a cup, a paper clip, about an 18-inch length, 18 to 24-inch length of yarn, and a little piece of sponge. This is about an inch, maybe a little bigger. For the fish, you probably figured out that fish is made from an egg carton. Now, we don't use the whole egg carton, but you may find that you have some other ideas for that. But you need an egg carton. You also need a pipe cleaner. There's my pipe cleaner. Here it is. You could also do this with yarn or string, but a pipe cleaner really works well because we're actually going to be threading things onto the pipe cleaner, and the stiff quality works very well. So, an egg carton and a pipe cleaner. For the kazoo, it's pretty obvious. You need a paper towel tube. You could use a toilet paper tube too. And you need either a rubber band or an elastic, like what you use in your hair. Be honest, I found that the elastic was working better, but whatever around the house is fine. And then you need a piece of paper, and it needs to be some flexible paper. And what I found is parchment paper what people use to bake is very good for this project. You could use wax paper. I've tried wrapping paper. That works okay. Construction paper and computer paper don't work so well. So try something like this. And then you can cut it into a square. You can see this is not a perfect square. And it is about 4 inches by 4 inches. 3.5 inches to 4 inches. You don't want it too small. It's better to have it big. So of course, there will be some cutting involved. So you'll need some scissors. And this may surprise you. You need a toothpick. This will help us with our fish. And finally, you get to personalize these with your decorations. What decorations do you have around the house? Markers, crayons, paint, glitter, feathers, stickers. Something I really like to use is washi tape. So you want to gather all of those things. And then when you're ready, you can either follow along with me or you can watch me do it and then make the crafts yourself. And remember, all of these crafts can be personalized and done your own special way. Let's start with our cup and ball. Here is my cup. And the first thing I need to do is take my yarn and tie it to a paper clip. I'm just going to thread it right through. Can you see I've threaded it through? And I'm just going to tie it. A slip knot is fine. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. See how easy that was? Now, the next thing we're going to do is put the paper clip right through the bottom of this cup. You can see I've already done it. There's a little hole, but if there isn't, just shove it through. You just push it right through. So you can't tell, but now it's going in. I'm pushing it with my pointer finger, and then I'm going to reach in on the other side and just pull that paper clip through. Now that I've done that, and when I tug the yarn the other way, it can't come out. The paper clip is keeping the yarn inside. That's all you need the paper clip for. Can you guess what we're going to tie on the other end? Yes, our sponge. Or, like I said, you could use a pom-pom. There's probably a lot of things around the house you could use. So I'm just going to tie it right here. I'm going to tie this pretty tight, but honestly, it probably will come untied at some point, and then you just can retie it. There's hours of fun with a cup and ball, or at least a couple minutes. Done. There's my cup and ball. Now this is longer than my sample, so I wonder if this is going to be harder. With a longer string, it's harder. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I can do it. So there is our first craft. Not so mysterious, really. It was fun, though. The next craft we're going to make is our fish. Do you remember our fish? Here she is. Whee! She can swim. For this, we will need an egg carton. And you can see I've already kind of cut my pieces apart. So just cut them up so they're a little more manageable. So I have two here. I'm just going to cut them in half. There we go. And now, this isn't very neat looking, so we need to trim them. You can actually see there's sort of a line you can follow through there. Can you see that? So just trim them around, just so it looks kind of neat. Neat like a fish. Maybe it's the rainbow fish or the pout-pout fish. Doesn't have to be literature-based, but you could think about that. I'm going to trim another one. Now for my fish, I just use 4 of these divisions of egg cup from the egg carton. But maybe you'd like to make a really long fish. You could keep going. Remember, you got to make this craft however you want. I'm going to stick with 4. All right. I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to trim one more so it looks nice and neat. This is for the fish's body and also the fish's head. But the last cup, I'm not going to trim that because this, if you use your imagination, that looks a little bit like a fishtail already. So I'm going to take this cup and I'm going to squish it between my fingers like that. Flatten it. That kind of looks like a fishtail, doesn't it? Now, I can even trim it to be a little more like a tail. I'm just going to make it look a little more like a V. You can do that if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to cut a little bit out of the middle too. Okay. Yeah, that kind of looks like a fin, doesn't it? All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 pieces for the head and the body, and we have 1 for the tail. This is where our pipe cleaner comes up. And remember I mentioned a toothpick before? You don't have to use a toothpick, but it does make it easier. You could use a needle, or you could use a skewer, or you could probably use scissors too, but I find this is pretty easy. I'm just going to take this toothpick, and right in the middle of that egg cup, I'm just going to drive it in there. Some egg cups are tougher than others. The last time I did this, it popped right through. There we go. So you can see I've just poked it through. Now, we're not going to use this toothpick for anything. This is just our tool to make a hole in that egg cup there. And now I'm just going to thread that pipe cleaner through that hole we made. So the toothpick is really just a tool, like scissors or something like that. So let's do it again with another one. Poke. Yeah, sometimes I break my toothpick here. Hopefully that won't happen this time. But if it does, I have plenty. There, looks like I got it through. All right, so all I did was make a hole. And now I'm just going to thread this one right there. See how easy that is? Once you've poked a nice hole through it. You could do this with yarn too. One more before we get to the fish tail. Just going to poke it right through. Poke, 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 poke. There we go. Okay. So can you see that hole? I'm just going to run that last bit of pipe cleaner through it. So you can see right now, this is going to be our fish's head, fish's body, and we still need the tail. Yep, I need that toothpick one more time. Sometimes it's easier if you open it up a little bit. Let's see. Remember, we squished it before, so now I've opened it up a little bit. There we go. Even squished, I can get that toothpick through. Wiggle it a little bit. That just makes it easier. And then thread it. All right. So this is a very plain looking fish. It's not at all like the rainbow fish, but we should still give it a face. And I like to color it too. Now, you can use markers or crayons. You might even have some paint around the house. I don't. If you decide to use paint, you might want to paint these all first and then poke them and thread them. It's up to you. Remember, you're the boss of this craft. You can do it however you want. You don't have to do it the way I tell you. This is just to give you some ideas, a starting point for your own super cool crafts. All right. So if you know me, you know I like purple. Now, so I've given my fish head a purple head, but my fish does need some eyes. Needs to see where she's going. Here we go. And fish have really big eyes. Let's see. That's pretty big. Got some eyelashes. Get an eye on the other side of her head. Some eyelashes. Now let's make her a happy fish. So she's definitely not the pout-pout fish. Give her a little smile. Fish always look so glum. Have you ever noticed that? So my fish is happy. Now, I'm going to stop here, but I could color the rest of the body. As I said, I could make my fish longer. And when you make yours, you can personalize it to however you want. Oh, now she's swimming upside down. I don't think I want her to swim upside down, poor thing. Whee! There she goes. So we're ready for our last craft. This probably is the most mysterious because, as I mentioned, it's easy to make, but hard to make it work. So let's start with the easy part. Here is our tube. Here is that piece of paper that I talked about. Parchment paper cut in a square about 4 inches by 4 inches. So you take that piece of paper and you just place it over the top and just scrunch it down a little bit with your hand and put a rubber band or an elastic around it. We're done. That's it. That's a kazoo. And when you play your kazoo, you really are just blowing. Your air is going to create vibration that blows the paper at the end of this, and the elastic has helped keeping it flexible, and it absorbs that vibration. But it still gets to be kind of tricky. So sometimes you can manipulate this part. Sometimes you can just squish this around. And sometimes you just have to try again. Let's see if this one works. Oh, I almost blew it off. But did you hear that? Got a little better vibration on that one. If it comes off, just put it on again. I promise you that will happen. Just put it right back on. Let's try again. Well, it came off again. Now, after you've made it and you can get it to work, I think we've come to the fun part. This is mysterious too because you are the one who gets to decide how to decorate all of your crafts. I mentioned that I really like washi tape, so you can use these pretty decorations to decorate anything. If you have this kind of tape, you can just stick it around your cup and ball. You can see I did use it on my kazoo. If you're using styrofoam, you might not want to use marker on these cups. It gets all over your fingers. But on the other hand, you can just wash them. So do whatever is best for you. Okay, so I've decorated mine a little. You could use stickers, glitter. You can use anything you want to personalize your toys. Because our imagination really is a big part of the mysteries, isn't it? Well, I really had fun making these crafts with you. And I hope that you give a chance to try them yourself. You could have, as I said, you could have followed on, but you can also stop and start this at any time and watch what I do. And remember, you can use your own ideas and make it your own personal toy. For example, maybe you'll look at this egg carton and think of something else fun that you could do with it. With all of these things, if you want to take a picture and send it to the library, that would be great. Our email is on our website. Speaking of our website, I want to remind you all about our summer reading program. We may all be physically distancing and the library buildings still are not open, but of course we're having our summer reading program. You can get the information online at our website. It's pvld.org, O-R-G, and then click on the slide that says Summer Reading. It will tell you all about our reading program. We talk about joining the program, but there really isn't anything you need to do except read and keep track of the amount of reading you spend. On our webpage, on that summer reading page, you'll see that there is a link to a log that you can open. This will help you keep track of the reading that you do. We don't really need you to keep track of the titles, but just the amount of time you spend reading. And when we say reading, we mean reading anything. You can read books, you can read magazines, you can read newspapers, you can read an ebook downloaded from our website, or you can read a book from home or a book from the library. You can read a book or someone can read to you. You can even listen to an audiobook. All of those things that you do in summer help you enjoy reading. And when you enjoy reading, you know what? You become a better reader, even in summer. You can even read a book you've read before, read a favorite, or maybe summer is the time that you want to tackle something really long, like Harry Potter. Now, you have other options too. On the back of this reading log, and you can see this online, there's ideas for other activities. And if you do any of these activities, that supports your reading. And they're also fun. Everything from playing charades to making a greeting card for a senior citizen. If you do one of these, we consider that a reading activity. Every 4 reading activities you would complete, which includes reading itself, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you are becoming a better reader and the pleasure of doing that activity or reading that exciting or funny story. But we also like to give you something a little more tangible. Tangible means you can hold it in your hand. And I'm holding in my hand just one of our souvenir iron-on patches. This patch says read in Japanese. For every 4 activities you complete, which would take about 2 hours to do 4 activities, we will mail you one of these patches. Since the library isn't open yet, we still want to make sure you get your patches. So if you go to our webpage, there's a form that says, mail me my patches. Just fill that out. And what will we do? Mail you your patches. Now we do it about every 2 weeks. So if you don't get your patch right away, don't worry. Just keep checking that mailbox. But you can also call us or email us. There's a link on that webpage to contact us with more questions. Every week, we are going to have a recorded event like this one today. So check our calendar. Remember, recorded events, you can watch them anytime. And we're looking forward to seeing you at the library. If you'd like to place a book on hold and pick it up at the library, you can do that too. Give us a call if you don't know how, and we'll walk you through it. It was fun to see you today. I'm looking forward to seeing you all whenever we open. And in the meantime, keep reading. Use your imagination to make your own mysterious crafts. Check our calendar for more fun events taking place this summer. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.